All right, listen up, because I've sifted through the noise, the hype, and the endless trailers just so you don't have to. Today, we're diving into the only 50 upcoming single-player games that actually matter. The ones that'll make you cancel plans, ignore calls, and question why you even have a life outside your console or PC. From jaw-dropping open worlds to story-driven masterpieces, these are the games worth your time, money, and sleep. Gang of Dragon is Nagoshi Studios' gritty new action-adventure unveiled at the Game Awards 2025, set in Tokyo's Kabukicho nightlife district where neon lights mask the shadows of crime. Directed by Toshihiro Nagoshi, the legendary creator of Yakuza, the game stars Ma Dong-seok as Shinji Seong, a high-ranking member of a Korean syndicate navigating brutal underworld conflicts and fragile human bonds. Combat unfolds in visceral third-person style, mixing devastating hand-to-hand strikes with blades, firearms, and even high-octane vehicle chases through Shinjuku's crowded streets. The narrative promises a blend of violence and humanity, exploring loyalty, betrayal, and redemption in a city that never sleeps. And yes, when fists fly faster than bullets, you'll realize the true moral of the story: never skip arm day. With cinematic flair and a focus on raw physicality, Gang of Dragon is shaping up to be a spiritual successor to Nagoshi's Yakuza legacy, but with its own ferocious identity. Blood Message is NetEase's upcoming single-player action-adventure set in the late Tang Dynasty, developed by 24 Entertainment using Unreal Engine 5, where players embody a nameless messenger and his son on a perilous eastward journey during the Shaju Uprising of 848 AD. The game blends cinematic storytelling with tense survival mechanics as you traverse deserts, hostile territories, and relentless enemy sieges to deliver a crucial message to Chang'an. Its narrative focuses on loyalty, sacrifice, and the unsung heroes of history, offering a linear yet emotionally charged odyssey. Combat is third-person, emphasizing skillful swordplay and tactical encounters, while the atmosphere captures the grandeur and decay of Tang-era China. And yes, carrying a message across 3,000 li is exhausting, but at least you don't have to deal with spam texts along the way. With no release date yet, Blood Message is poised to be a hauntingly beautiful tale of duty and resilience.
长安于天地之间。
Control Resonant is Remedy Entertainment's bold sequel to their 2019 hit, shifting the spotlight from Jessie Faden to her troubled younger brother Dylan, 7 years after the events of the first game. Set in a paranormally warped Manhattan rather than the oldest house, the story unfolds as the Hiss escapes containment, twisting skyscrapers and streets into surreal battlegrounds. Dylan, armed with new abilities and a shape-shifting melee weapon called the Aberrant, must confront cosmic threats while searching for his sister, who may have gone rogue. Unlike its predecessor's shooter focus, Resonant leans into action RPG systems, offering open-ended exploration, moral choices, and deeper progression. Remedy promises a cinematic expansion of its connected universe, co-produced with Annapurna Pictures, aiming for release in 2026 across PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Mac. And yes, Manhattan may be collapsing under supernatural forces, but at least the rent finally matches the vibe. Divinity is Larian Studios' newly announced RPG, revealed at the Game Awards 2025, marking a return to the studio's original fantasy universe after the massive success of Baldur's Gate 3. Built as a spiritual successor to Divinity Original Sin 2, the game promises continuity with familiar characters, while introducing a completely new storyline, darker themes, and a more ambitious scope. Confirmed to retain turn-based combat, it expands progression systems, moral choices, and cinematic storytelling, blending everything Larian learned from its previous projects into what it calls its most ambitious RPG yet. Fans can expect haunting environments, complex party dynamics, and a narrative that rewards exploration and sharp decision-making. And yes, it's still turn-based, because nothing says epic fantasy like waiting politely for your enemy to finish their move before you stab them. With no release date yet, Divinity is shaping up to be a cornerstone in modern RPG design, promising depth, drama, and devilish fun. Atomic Heart 2 is Mundfish's ambitious sequel to their surreal Soviet dystopia, announced at Summer Game Fest 2025 and set for release in 2026 on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Continuing Major P3's journey, the game expands beyond Facility 3826 into a global stage where retro-futuristic aesthetics collide with collapsing societies and rogue robotics. Players can expect deeper RPG systems, skill upgrades, and expanded weapon customization, all wrapped in the studio's signature blend of eerie atmosphere and explosive combat. The narrative promises a broader exploration of alternate history, with humanity's survival hanging in the balance as mechanical nightmares spread worldwide. And yes, the robots are still terrifying, though at least they don't complain when you forget to oil them, unlike your car. With Mundfish promising more freedom, moral dilemmas, and cinematic flair, Atomic Heart 2 aims to elevate its predecessor's cult reputation into blockbuster territory. Marvel's Wolverine is Insomniac Games' highly anticipated leap into the darker side of Marvel's universe, arriving fall 2026 as a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Built by the same team behind Marvel's Spider-Man, the game tells a self-contained story where Logan confronts the ghosts of his past while carving through enemies with his iconic adamantium claws. The narrative is designed to be mature, gritty, and emotionally charged, with writers from Spec Ops: The Line ensuring depth and moral complexity. Gameplay showcases visceral melee combat, environmental destruction, and cinematic sequences that highlight Wolverine's feral nature. Unlike Spider-Man's acrobatics, Wolverine's world is slower, bloodier, and more personal, emphasizing raw brutality and survival. And yes, Logan's claws are sharp enough to slice through steel, but don't worry, he still struggles to open childproof medicine bottles. With Insomniac's pedigree and Sony's backing, Marvel's Wolverine is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious superhero games ever, expanding the studio's Marvel universe while giving fans the definitive Wolverine experience.
I'm Wolverine.
Mortal Shell 2 is coming in 2026, and honestly, it looks like the sequel Souls-like fans have been waiting for. Developed again by Cold Symmetry and published by PlayStack, it's taking everything brutal and atmospheric from the first game and cranking it up. This time you step into the role of the Harbinger, tasked with reclaiming the stolen ova of Undermeather from grotesque, nightmarish creatures, and the vibe is pure dark fantasy horror. The reveal trailer already showed off massive bosses, twisted environments, and a heavy metal soundtrack that perfectly matches the gory combat. Expect the same unforgiving gameplay loop, precise dodges, punishing parries, and that tense feeling of one wrong move and you're done, but layered with deeper lore and more varied shells to inhabit. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I hate this boss, but I love this game," while still diving back in because the mix of despair, challenge, and atmosphere is just too addictive to resist. No Law is Neon Giant's ambitious follow-up to The Ascent, a single-player open-world FPS RPG unveiled at the Game Awards 2025, where players step into the boots of Gray Harker, an ex-military veteran whose quiet life tending plants is shattered when gangs and corrupt powers of Port Desire come crashing in. Built on handcrafted cyber-noir environments, the game emphasizes player choice, whether you go loud with brutal gunfights or stealthy through reactive systems that respond to sightlines, noise, and pressure. The narrative promises a gritty tale of survival, revenge, and fractured morality, with Harker forced to confront both his past and the city that wronged him. Combat is visceral, blending custom hardware, tactical gunplay, and RPG progression, while the world pulses with gang wars and neon-lit decadence. And yes, Gray may be a hardened soldier, but even he knows the deadliest weapon in Port Desire is still rent prices. With no release date yet, No Law is shaping up to be a brutal, stylish expansion of Neon Giant's cyberpunk vision. OD is Hideo Kojima's daring new horror project created in partnership with Xbox Game Studios and co-written with filmmaker Jordan Peele, designed to test the very limits of fear itself. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game stars Sophia Lillis, Hunter Schafer, and the late Udo Kier, weaving a surreal narrative that blurs reality and nightmare. Kojima describes OD as an experiment in overdosing on fear, pushing players into psychological thresholds rather than relying solely on jump scares. The teaser trailer, revealed at the Game Awards, showcased haunting visuals and cryptic dialogue, leaving fans speculating about its mechanics, whether it leans toward interactive storytelling, survival horror, or something entirely new. And yes, it's called OD, but don't worry, the only overdose you'll risk is on Kojima's love for cryptic trailers. With Kojima Productions keeping details tightly under wraps, OD is shaping up to be a genre-defining experiment in horror, promising a chilling blend of cinematic artistry and interactive terror. Onimusha: Way of the Sword is Capcom's long-awaited revival of the legendary samurai series, arriving in 2026 as the first new mainline entry since 2006's Dawn of Dreams. Directed by Satoru Nihei and powered by the RE engine, the game follows Miyamoto Musashi, modeled after actor Toshiro Mifune, through a dark fantasy version of Kyoto during the Edo period, where rival swordsmen, demons, and supernatural horrors collide. Gameplay blends cinematic exploration with hack-and-slash combat, emphasizing Musashi's mastery of the blade and mystical powers as he confronts both human and demonic foes. The narrative promises a mix of historical authenticity and mythic spectacle, immersing players in a world of honor, betrayal, and relentless battles. And yes, Musashi may be the greatest swordsman in history, but even he probably wishes demons came with an off switch. With Capcom's modern technology and storytelling ambition, Way of the Sword is poised to reforge Onimusha's legacy for a new generation.
I don't have time for these stupid games!
I'm terribly sorry.
Resident Evil Requiem is Capcom's chilling new chapter in survival horror, set to launch on February 27, 2026, during the franchise's 30th anniversary. As the 9th mainline entry, it thrusts players back into the ruins of Raccoon City, where Leon S. Kennedy, older, battle-worn yet still iconic, returns to confront the lingering nightmares of the past. The narrative promises a blend of nostalgia and fresh terror, weaving together new characters like Grace Ashcroft with familiar faces, while exploring themes of legacy, trauma, and survival. Powered by the RE engine, the game delivers. Fans can expect a balance of exploration, puzzle solving, and intense encounters with both human and bioweapon threats. And yes, Leon may be fighting zombies again, but at least he doesn't have to deal with the horror of expired Raccoon City parking tickets. With its mix of returning heroes, new mysteries, and cinematic ambition, Resident Evil Requiem is shaping up to be one of 2026's most anticipated horror experiences.
Victor Gideon.
Nice!
Victor purchased a building after Umbrella went under. I'll send you the address.
Welcome. Dr. Gideon has been expecting you.
Hey, over here. FBI, what are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never. Think I want a second opinion.
Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy is Asobo Studios' bold return to its haunting medieval universe set 15 years before Requiem and following Sophia, a fierce young plunderer whose journey takes her to the mysterious Minotaur's Island. Here, she must outwit deadly foes, unravel ancient secrets, and confront a mythical creature tied to a devastating curse. The narrative blends historical grit with mythological spectacle, weaving puzzles, stealth, and combat into a tale of survival and fate. Sophia's path is fraught with peril as armies pursue her while the island itself tests her resolve through labyrinthine trials and cursed relics. Built on Asobo's cinematic storytelling and Focus Entertainment's backing, the game promises a mix of emotional depth and mythic grandeur. And yes, facing a Minotaur sounds terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to him why you forgot Leg Day. With its 2026 release, Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy is shaping up to be both a gripping prequel and a fresh expansion of the series' legacy. Samson: A Tindleston Story is basically a pressure cooker disguised as a video game. You're stepping into the shoes of Samson McRae, a guy drowning in debt while the city of Tindleston itself feels like it's actively trying to crush him. Every move you make matters. Mess up, and the city pushes back harder. The devs at Liquid Swords, led by Christopher Sundberg, yeah, the dude behind Just Cause and Mad Max, are promising brutal, grounded combat where desperation fuels every punch, kick, and split-second decision. It's not just about fighting, it's about surviving in a noir-inspired nightmare where the clock is always ticking and choices stick with you. The game's dropping on Steam and Epic in early 2026, rocking cinematic storytelling and next-gen visuals that make the grime and neon of Tindleston pop off the screen. Honestly, it looks like one of those titles that'll have us sweating bullets while yelling at the monitor, and I'm kinda here for it.
You can fight the fuck back.
Spine is an upcoming cinematic cyberpunk action game developed and published by Neki, designed to immerse players in a high-octane narrative experience that fuses free-flowing gun-fu combat with stylish storytelling. Originally conceived as a multiplayer project, the game shifted direction into a single-player cinematic adventure, drawing heavy inspiration from blockbuster action films like John Wick. Players take on the role of Redline, a protagonist navigating a dystopian cityscape where every encounter is choreographed into seamless sequences of parries, disarms, and weapon reversals, creating a fluid rhythm of combat that emphasizes both precision and spectacle. The game's hardcore mode promises ultra-difficult challenges for those seeking mastery, while its cinematic presentation highlights dynamic camera work and reactive environments that blur the line between gameplay and film. With over 400,000 wishlists across platforms, Spine has already captured significant attention, positioning itself as one of the most anticipated indie AAA-style projects in the cyberpunk genre. Scheduled for release at a yet unconfirmed date, Spine will launch on PC via Steam, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2. Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic is Archanaut Studios' bold new RPG, unveiled at the Game Awards 2025, and it promises to transport players back to the twilight of the Old Republic in a galaxy teetering on rebirth. Directed by Casey Hudson, the veteran behind Mass Effect, the game is designed as a narrative-driven, single-player epic that builds on the legacy of Knights of the Old Republic while forging its own path. Players will step into the role of a Force user navigating political intrigue, ancient mysteries, and the moral dilemmas of light versus dark, all within a cinematic framework powered by modern storytelling techniques. While details remain scarce, the announcement trailer teased sweeping galactic vistas and a tone of mythic grandeur. And yes, fans are already joking that the game might take so long to release that the Sith will file a formal complaint with HR. With Lucasfilm Games backing and Hudson's vision, Fate of the Old Republic is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated Star Wars RPGs of the decade, even if patience will be tested before its eventual launch. 007 First Light is IO Interactive's bold reimagining of James Bond's origin, casting players as a young, rebellious Royal Navy airman recruited into MY6, where the journey to earn his license to kill unfolds across globe-trotting missions, cinematic espionage, and gadget-fueled chaos. Built on the Glacier engine, the game promises breathtaking stealth and explosive action, weaving a standalone story inspired by Ian Fleming's novels while embracing modern blockbuster flair. Scheduled for release on May 27, 2026 across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC, it's touted as IO's most ambitious project yet, blending spycraft, car chases, and moral dilemmas into a seamless narrative. Midway through development, the studio delayed launch by 2 months to polish the experience, because even Bond needs time to iron his tux. And let's be honest, if you fail a mission, don't worry, Bond always has a license to respawn.
Tell me, what do you do, James?
Lately, headhunting.
Black Myth: Zhongkui is Game Science's next mythological action RPG, following the success of Black Myth: Wukong, and it thrusts players into the legendary tale of Zhongkui, the demon-quelling figure from Chinese folklore. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game promises cinematic combat, sprawling environments, and a darker tone that explores morality, myth, and the balance between humanity and the supernatural. Players will wield Zhongkui's immense strength and mystical powers to battle hordes of demons across richly detailed landscapes inspired by ancient Chinese culture. The narrative is designed to be both epic and personal, charting Zhong Kui's rise as a protector against chaos while immersing players in a world of haunting beauty and brutal encounters. And yes, fighting demons is tough, but at least Zhong Kui doesn't have to worry about patch notes ruining his sword swing. With game science expanding the Black Myth universe to multiple legendary figures, Zhong Kui's chapter is set to be a cornerstone of the franchise's ambitious future. Crimson Desert is Pearl Abyss's sweeping open-world action-adventure set to release on March 19, 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and macOS. The game unfolds in the war-torn continent of Pywell, where players step into the boots of Cliff, a mercenary leader of the fallen Greymanes determined to reunite his scattered comrades and reclaim their legacy Crimson Desert. Built on the Black Space engine, it promises cinematic storytelling, visceral combat, and a living world teeming with rival factions, mythical beasts, and shifting alliances. Unlike its MMO cousin Black Desert Online, Crimson Desert is a standalone single-player epic, blending medieval fantasy with gritty survival. The narrative emphasizes loyalty, betrayal, and destiny, while gameplay showcases dynamic battles, exploration, and even the ability to ride bears, dragons, and mechs PC gamer. And yes, when you're charging into battle on a bear, you'll finally understand why knights never skipped leg day. With its ambitious scope, Crimson Desert aims to redefine fantasy RPGs by merging spectacle with emotional depth.
Remember who you are, and let it guide your path. For at the end of it...
Fatekeeper is THQ Nordic's upcoming first-person sword and sorcery RPG, a handcrafted fantasy adventure where ruins whisper of past cataclysms and players wield both steel and sorcery to shape their destiny. Set in a world of crumbling sanctuaries, vast caverns, and forgotten battlegrounds, the game emphasizes exploration, lore, and choices that define who you become. Combat blends melee and magic with foes that demand tactical mastery, while physics-driven encounters recall the chaotic fun of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Yes, you can shove enemies off cliffs, proving gravity is the most reliable spell in your arsenal. The narrative promises a focused yet expansive journey, rewarding curiosity with relics and secrets hidden across Pywell's landscapes. With its gritty tone, dynamic battles, and spell-slinging druid protagonist, Fatekeeper aims to deliver a grounded but exhilarating fantasy experience that balances cinematic storytelling with player agency. Gothic 1 Remake is basically the return of a cult classic RPG that defined the early 2000s, rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5 by Alchemia Interactive and published by THQ Nordic. Launching in early 2026 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, it throws you back into the Valley of Mines, a brutal prison colony where survival means picking sides, earning respect, and clawing your way up from nothing. The devs are promising a faithful recreation of the original's gritty vibe, but with modern combat, cinematic storytelling, and a dynamic open world that reacts to your choices. You'll still be that nameless hero, but now every fight, every faction alliance, and every decision looks and feels way more visceral thanks to next-gen visuals and updated mechanics. Honestly, it's shaping up to be one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I can't believe they actually pulled this off," while grinning ear to ear, because Gothic's legendary atmosphere is finally getting the remake treatment fans have been begging for.
You might dismiss their culture as primitive, but it would be prudent to study them carefully. Maybe the key to all of this lies buried deep under their sanctuaries. I cannot unravel these mysteries all alone. I need allies. Allies who look out for more than their own survival. Allies who accomplish things you might have considered impossible. Allies I will meet soon enough.
Light No Fire is one of those games that makes you go, bro, this might actually change how we think about open worlds. Coming from Hello Games, the studio behind No Man's Sky, it's set on a fantasy planet literally the size of Earth, meaning you can climb mountains, cross oceans, and explore entire continents without hitting invisible walls. The vibe is survival meets RPG, so you're not just wandering, you're building, crafting, fighting enemies, and shaping your own story in a living, procedurally generated world. The devs are promising co-op play too, so you can team up with friends to tackle biomes, uncover secrets, and survive together. What's wild is the scale. It's not just big map hype, it's a planet-sized sandbox where every adventure feels unique. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, bro, I just climbed Everest and fought a dragon at the top, while still grinning because the freedom is so ridiculous. Longevity Yin and Yang is one of those upcoming action RPGs that makes you go, hey bro, this is basically Black Myth, Wukong meets Sekiro, but with its own crazy twist. Developed by Chinese indie studio 11 Games in Unreal Engine 5, it's set in the Ming Dynasty and dives deep into ancient ruins, imperial secrets, and the mythic obsession with eternal life. The combat is pure Wuxia Souls-like, fast, punishing, and cinematic, so every duel feels like a high-stakes martial arts showdown. The devs are promising around 40 to 50 hours of single-player content, multiple difficulty modes, and accessibility options, which means it's not just hardcore but also flexible for different players. The vibe is drenched in Chinese mythology, with comparisons already being made to Black Myth, Wukong, and Zhongkui, so expect a mix of folklore, supernatural enemies, and jaw-dropping visuals. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, bro, this boss fight is insane, while still grinning because the atmosphere and combat are just too good to put down. The Godslayer is Pythia Games' ambitious open-world RPG, revealed in late 2025 after years of silence, and it thrusts players into a sprawling steampunk city inspired by Eastern culture where divine beings known as Celestials rule with iron fists. You play as Chung, an Elemancer gifted with elemental powers reminiscent of Avatar, the last airbender who rises against the gods themselves in a tale of rebellion, vengeance, and destiny. Combat blends martial arts fluidity with elemental mastery, letting players unleash fire, water, earth, and air in dazzling combinations while exploring a handcrafted metropolis filled with secrets, factions, and colossal bosses. The narrative promises a mix of mythic grandeur and personal struggle, as Chung's defiance sparks a war against celestial tyranny. And yes, slaying gods sounds epic, but try explaining to your neighbors why your apartment smells like burnt lightning after a boss fight. With its fusion of steampunk aesthetics, mythological storytelling, and dynamic combat, the Godslayer is shaping up to be one of the most striking RPGs of its generation.
Have a taste of my ass!
The Witcher 4 is CD Projekt Red's bold continuation of its dark fantasy universe, officially revealed at the Game Awards 2024 as the start of a brand new trilogy. This time, players step into the role of Ciri, the child of the Elder Blood, who takes center stage as the saga shifts to the northern kingdom of Kovir. a land never before explored in the series. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, the game promises a vast, immersive open world with dynamic weather, intricate ecosystems, and branching narratives that expand on the moral complexity the franchise is known for. CD Projekt Red has emphasized cinematic storytelling, player choice, and technical innovation, aiming to surpass even The Witcher 3 in scope and detail. And yes, Ciri may be destined to fight monsters and shape the fate of kingdoms, but she still can't escape the horror of NPCs asking her to fetch herbs. With its mix of mythic storytelling, cutting-edge technology, and a fresh protagonist, The Witcher 4 is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated RPGs of the decade.
You can't change anything!
Tides of Annihilation is Eclipse Glow Games' sweeping Arthurian-inspired action-adventure scheduled for release in 2026, and it casts players as Gwendolyn, the lone survivor of a catastrophic otherworldly invasion that fractured London. Her journey spans the ruins of modern-day London and the mystical realm of Avalon, where she must seek the Holy Grail to save her sister, restore the world, and exact vengeance on demigods who rule with cruel dominion. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, the game promises cinematic storytelling, fluid combat, and richly detailed environments that merge myth and modernity. The narrative blends personal tragedy with epic legend, weaving puzzles, exploration, and battles against towering foes into a tale of survival and destiny. And yes, fighting demigods sounds terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to King Arthur why you accidentally dropped Excalibur in the Thames. With its fusion of mythic grandeur, modern setting, and emotional stakes, Tides of Annihilation is shaping up to be one of 2026's most intriguing fantasy adventures.
My quarrel lies not with you, but I will take back everything that belongs to me.
Tomb Raider Catalyst is Crystal Dynamics' bold new chapter in Lara Croft's saga, scheduled for release in 2027 and set years after the events of Tomb Raider Underworld. Powered by Unreal Engine 5 and published by Amazon Game Studios, the game transports players to northern India, where a mythical cataclysm has fractured the land, exposing ancient ruins and awakening forces that guard long-buried secrets. Lara must navigate treacherous tombs, rival treasure hunters, and shifting alliances as she races to prevent a catastrophe that could reshape the future. The narrative promises a blend of myth and modernity, with richly detailed environments, intricate puzzles, and cinematic storytelling that expands Lara's legacy. And yes, Lara may be battling demigods and rival hunters, but at least she doesn't have to explain to airport security why she's carrying Thor's hammer in her luggage. With its mix of expansive exploration, puzzle solving, and mythic spectacle, Catalyst is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious Tomb Raider entries yet, uniting Lara's past and future in a sprawling adventure. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis is Crystal Dynamics' daring reimagining of Lara Croft's 1996 debut, arriving in 2026 to celebrate the franchise's 30th anniversary. Powered by Unreal Engine 5, the game revisits Lara's hunt for the Scion, an artifact of immeasurable power, across exotic locations including Peru's jungles,
But it lit a fire that still burns. I need to see more. I need to go further. To uncover the secrets of Atlantis. Some legends are destined to be retold.
Valor Mortis is one more level's grim new Souls-like adventure arriving in 2026, and it thrusts players into an alternate 19th century Eastern Europe, where Napoleon's war has torn reality apart and unleashed a plague that twists soldiers into undead horrors. You play as William, a resurrected British soldier bound to Napoleon's Grande Armée, forced to wield a cutlass and supernatural powers against both monstrous foes and the conspiracies behind his own resurrection. Built on the studio's pedigree from Ghost Runner, the game promises fast-paced first-person combat, brutal difficulty, and atmospheric storytelling across battlefields warped by history and nightmare. Elemental abilities like fire and lightning add flair to swordplay, while the narrative explores loyalty, corruption, and survival in a world where death is never final. And yes, being resurrected by Napoleon sounds epic, until you realize he probably won't let you take a sick day. With its blend of alternate history, dark fantasy, and punishing gameplay, Valor Mortis is shaping up to be one of 2026's most distinctive action RPGs. Wuchi the Wayfarer is Nexon Games and Lore Vault's ambitious new fantasy action-adventure announced in August 2025, and it transports players into a richly reimagined Joseon-era Korea where myth and history collide. Inspired by the tale of Jeon Wuchi, a classic Korean novel, the game casts players as the mischievous sorcerer Wuchi, whose journey spans sprawling cities, mystical temples, and cursed landscapes, all rendered in Unreal Engine 5 with cinematic flair. The developers promise a deeply emotional narrative that resonates globally, blending martial arts combat, spellcasting, and exploration with cultural authenticity. Its design philosophy mirrors the mythic grandeur of Black Myth, Wukong, but with a uniquely Korean identity. And yes, Wuchi may be a legendary trickster, but even he probably wishes his magic could fix the release date faster than the dev team. With Nexon's backing and Lore Vault's vision, Wuchi the Wayfarer is shaping up to be a culturally rich, visually stunning adventure that could redefine how folklore-inspired games captivate modern audiences.
참으로 정성이십니다.
Nioh 3 is the highly anticipated continuation of Team Ninja's brutal samurai action RPG series published by Koei Tecmo, and it promises to push the franchise into even darker, more ambitious territory. Set after the events of the previous games, players step into the role of Tokugawa Takechio, the grandchild of Tokugawa Ieyasu, who must battle yokai, supernatural forces, and rival warlords while ascending to the role of shogun. The game expands on its predecessor's punishing, Souls-like combat with new duel-style stances, open field zones, and deeper yokai transformations, offering more freedom and tactical variety than ever before. Exploration is designed to be more dynamic, with interconnected regions, hidden shrines, and emergent encounters that reward mastery and persistence. Narrative depth is enhanced through cinematic storytelling, directed by Shinji Higuchi, weaving Japanese folklore with historical drama to create a mythic retelling of Japan's Sengoku era. Fans can expect refined weapon systems, expanded skill trees, and cooperative multiplayer modes that heighten replayability, while the visual presentation leverages Team Ninja's new Katana engine to deliver stunning detail and fluid performance. With its blend of punishing combat, mythological intrigue, and historical authenticity, Nioh 3 is scheduled to release on February 6, 2026 for PlayStation 5 and Windows PC via Steam. Blood of Dawnwalker is the debut dark fantasy action RPG from Rebel Wolves, a studio formed by ex-CD Projekt Red developers, and it plunges players into the cursed land of Vale Sangora, a mysterious region of the Carpathian Mountains where vampires rule over humanity after saving them from plague with their blood. You play as Cohen, a Dawnwalker bound to a dual existence, human by day and vampire by night, forced to navigate a narrative sandbox that unfolds across 30 days and 30 nights, where every choice shapes the fate of your family and the valley itself. The game emphasizes moral ambiguity, letting players lean into either their human or vampiric nature, with branching quests, factional intrigue, and a richly reactive open world. Combat blends visceral melee with supernatural powers, while exploration reveals hidden histories, cursed ruins, and dynamic encounters that evolve with time. Its cinematic presentation, powered by Unreal Engine 5, highlights Gothic architecture, solar eclipses, and haunting atmospheres, while the story explores themes of survival, corruption, and identity. With Bandai Namco publishing and a demo already showcased, anticipation is high for this ambitious RPG. Blood of Dawnwalker is scheduled to release in 2026 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S.
Fighting to even the score. Fighting to understand the evil behind it all.
He is out there watching, seeping into you. growing.
Soulframe is the upcoming fantasy MMORPG from Digital Extremes, the creators of Warframe, and it shifts away from the sci-fi setting of its predecessor to embrace a lush, nature-driven world steeped in themes of restoration, redemption, and environmental conflict. Unlike Warframe's fast-paced gunplay, Soulframe emphasizes slower, more deliberate melee combat inspired by Souls-like titles, with a focus on stamina management, tactical positioning, and weapon mastery. Players take on the role of envoys, warriors bound to the natural order, tasked with battling corruption and forging bonds with mystical creatures across a sprawling open world. Exploration is central, with procedurally generated dungeons, dynamic ecosystems, and evolving storylines that react to player choices, while the game's narrative highlights humanity's relationship with nature and the consequences of exploitation. Digital Extremes has showcased gameplay demos at TennoCon, revealing cinematic boss fights, cooperative play, and a unique Preludes pre-alpha system that allows fans to experience evolving updates before launch. With its blend of mythic storytelling, immersive combat, and community-driven development, Soulframe is currently in closed pre-alpha testing, with its full release tentatively targeted for 2026 on PC, though no exact date has been confirmed.
Like the wind.
Phantom Blade Zero is an upcoming dark martial arts action RPG from Chinese developer S-Game, blending the elegance of wuxia-inspired combat with the punishing intensity of Souls-like design. Players step into the role of Soul, an elite assassin cursed with only 66 days to live, navigating a bleak, cinematic world where steampunk machinery collides with ancient kung fu traditions. The game emphasizes lightning-fast hack-and-slash combat, reactive parries, and fluid combos, designed to feel both brutal and graceful, while its narrative explores themes of mortality, loyalty, and betrayal. Environments range from mist-shrouded forests and ruined temples to neon-lit cyberpunk districts, each crafted with a close cinematic camera that heightens immersion. Phantom Blade Zero also promises branching storylines, cinematic cutscenes, and encounters with grotesque bosses that test both skill and patience. Its art direction fuses cyberpunk grit with classical Chinese aesthetics, creating a unique visual identity that sets it apart from other action RPGs. With strong comparisons to Sekiro, Wolong, and Nioh, it has quickly become one of the most anticipated titles in the genre. Phantom Blade Zero is scheduled to release on September 9th, 2026 for PlayStation 5 and PC via Steam.
Failed once, but they won't fail again.
Please, take it. Save our people. The girl's nothing but a shell now. She'll never be the same.
You broke my blade. But we broke your spirit.
Phantom is movement, striking from where none expect. Blade is breath. We channel it into steel, turning any blade into a divine weapon. When Phantom and Blade unite, no enemy stands.
Darksiders 4 is the long-awaited continuation of THQ Nordic's apocalyptic action-adventure saga developed by Gunfire Games, and it promises to finally unite the narrative threads of the Four Horsemen. Building on the franchise's signature blend of hack-and-slash combat, puzzle-solving, and exploration, the game introduces cinematic, fast-paced battles that combine melee brutality, supernatural abilities, and fluid traversal across a richly detailed post-apocalyptic world. The story picks up directly after the events of the original Darksiders, continuing the saga of the Horsemen as they confront new cosmic threats while unraveling deeper lore about the Charred Council and the balance between heaven, hell, and earth. Each Horseman will feature unique weapons and combat styles, offering varied gameplay experiences, while environments are designed to be more expansive and reactive, filled with secrets, dungeons, and lore-heavy encounters. Fans can expect a darker tone, refined RPG systems, and cooperative elements that expand the series' scope beyond its predecessors. With the teaser trailer revealed at THQ Nordic's 2025 showcase, anticipation is high as the franchise finally returns after years of silence. Darksiders 4 is currently in development and confirmed for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S, though no official release date has yet been announced, but it is expected sometime in 2026. Directive 8020 is the highly anticipated next entry in the Dark Pictures anthology by Supermassive Games, serving as the first chapter of Season 2 and marking the series' bold shift into sci-fi horror. Scheduled for release in the first quarter of 2026 across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, the game transports players aboard a deep space colony ship where a mission to establish humanity's future spirals into paranoia, betrayal, and survival against an unseen cosmic threat. Unlike the anthology's earlier Earthbound tales, Directive 8020 blends cinematic storytelling, branching choices, and tense exploration with a chilling interstellar setting, promising both intimate character drama and large-scale existential dread. As with previous entries, player decisions will shape who lives and dies, but the futuristic backdrop introduces new mechanics tied to space travel and isolation. With Supermassive's reputation for immersive narrative horror, Directive 8020 aims to deliver the most ambitious and technically advanced installment yet, fusing psychological terror with the vast unknown of outer space.
It can manipulate its physical appearance. It's changing its cellular structure. It's replicating the human form. It's replacing us.
I know this will be difficult to hear, but if you're still out there, you deserve the truth.
Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake is the highly anticipated revival of Koei Tecmo's cult classic survival horror developed by Team Ninja and set to release globally on March 12, 2026 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Nintendo Switch 2, and PC via Steam. The remake reimagines the chilling tale of twin sisters Mio and Mayu Amakura, who stumble upon the cursed All-Gods village, haunted by restless spirits and bound by a sinister ritual. Players once again wield the iconic Camera Obscura, a mystical device that exorcises ghosts by capturing their souls, now enhanced with modern mechanics, improved responsiveness, and expanded combat depth. Built in Unreal Engine 5, the game features richly atmospheric visuals, dynamic lighting, and immersive sound design that heighten its psychological dread. Alongside graphical upgrades, it introduces quality-of-life improvements, accessibility options, and new narrative layers to deepen the emotional resonance of the sisters' journey. With pre-orders live and bonus content teased, Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly Remake promises to honor its legacy while delivering a terrifying cinematic experience for both longtime fans and newcomers. Halo. Campaign Evolved is Halo Studios' ambitious full remake of the legendary Halo Combat Evolved, rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5, and set to release in 2026 across Xbox Series X and S, Windows, and, shockingly, PlayStation 5, marking the franchise's first appearance outside Xbox. This reimagined campaign preserves the iconic battles of Master Chief against the Covenant and Flood while expanding with new story content, remastered 4K visuals, and refined mechanics shaped by 25 years of community feedback. Vehicles, weapons, and environments are redesigned for modern cinematic flair, while multiplayer modes are teased alongside the single-player epic. The narrative aims to honor Bungie's original while deepening lore connections across the Halo universe. And yes, the Flood are back, because nothing says welcome home like space zombies who never RSVP. with Day 1 Game Pass support and cross-platform play. Halo. Campaign Evolved is positioned as both a nostalgic return and a bold new chapter in sci-fi shooters.
A real fight. The cartographer must be here.
Chronicles. Medieval is one of those games that makes you go, alright, this is basically the medieval sandbox we've all been waiting for. Developed by Raw Power Games and heading into early access on Steam in 2026, it throws you into a brutal living European world where you start from nothing and claw your way up to power. You're not just swinging swords, you're building castles, leading armies, trading, dabbling in diplomacy, and carving out your legacy in a realm that reacts to every choice you make. The combat promises large-scale battles and gritty melee clashes, while the sandbox lets you decide whether you're a ruthless warlord, a savvy merchant, or a scheming noble. It's moddable, co-op friendly, and dripping with that write-your-own-story vibe, so no two players' journeys will look the same. Honestly, it feels like one of those games where you'll be yelling, "Bro, I just conquered half the map with nothing but grit," while still plotting your next move because the world keeps pushing back in ways you didn't expect.
Only one ending. I shall find no peace. On this road, there is only death. But that's just my story. Go write your own.
Star Citizen. Squadron 42 is Cloud Imperium Games' ambitious single-player campaign finally nearing completion after years of anticipation, with a 2026 release window confirmed. Built as a standalone experience within the Star Citizen universe, it promises over 40 hours of narrative-driven gameplay, blending cinematic storytelling with space combat, exploration, and branching missions. Players step into the role of a rookie pilot thrust into humanity's war against the Vanduul, guided by a star-studded cast including Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, and Gary Oldman. The campaign emphasizes immersion, with richly detailed ships, dynamic dogfights, and dialogue choices that shape relationships and outcomes. Cloud Imperium has focused on polish rather than flashy marketing, ensuring Squadron 42 delivers a refined cinematic journey. And yes, it's been in development for so long that some fans joke the Vanduul might invade Earth before the game actually ships. With its mix of Hollywood talent, technical ambition, and narrative depth, Squadron 42 is poised to be both a milestone in space sims and a redemption arc for one of gaming's most infamous development sagas. Supreme Experiment is one of those games that instantly makes you lean forward and go, okay, what the heck is happening here? So here's the deal. It's a first-person sci-fi action-adventure from Argonov Games, set in a world where humanity has basically peaced out, and machines have evolved into their own species, complete with tribes, cults, and even gods. You're dropped into this eerie, post-human Earth where survival isn't just about blasting robots. It's about unraveling the mystery of how we fell and whether there's anything left worth saving. The devs are promising immersive sim mechanics, atmospheric exploration, and multiple endings, so every choice you make could flip the story on its head. Think cyberpunk vibes mashed with supernatural lore, wrapped in a thriller-style narrative that keeps you guessing. Honestly, it feels like one of those games where you'll be wandering through neon ruins, fighting off machine zealots, and constantly muttering, "Bro, what is even going on?" And that's exactly why I'm hyped.
Searching for truth. An abandoned, poisoned wasteland, crawling with creatures beyond imagination. Down here, humans don't belong. For those who left the city, it's a one-way ticket. Go for a reason. This evolution of the machines was not random. There's something vast behind it. And it's It's coming for everyone, not just the machines. The people in the cities don't know it yet, but soon they will.
Swords of Legends is one of those games that makes you go, this is Chinese mythology turned into a full-blown cinematic RPG. Developed by Oregon Shanghai and published by Wangyuan Shengtang, it's basically the long-awaited return of the Gujian series after 15 years, now rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 for PC and consoles. You play as Si Pan, an underworld enforcer reborn to bring his wrath into the mortal realm, wielding mystical techniques, divine artifacts, and even captured souls that fight alongside you. The vibe is pure Wuxia meets Souls-like, with fast-paced combat, sweeping storylines, and visuals that look like they were ripped straight out of legendary Chinese literature. What's wild is that this isn't just another MMO spin-off, it's a single-player action RPG dripping with folklore, cultural depth, and emotional storytelling. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, bro, this boss fight feels like a myth come alive, while still grinning because the mix of combat, atmosphere, and narrative is just too good to pass up.
What? Soulless husk?
The living cast their dead to flame, and sacrifice ignites the war banners!
Here we go again.
Solasta 2 is Tactical Adventure's ambitious sequel to Crown of the Magister, launching in early access on March 12, 2026, and it thrusts players into the mana-soaked world of Neokos, where a dark force led by Shadwin threatens to unravel fragile alliances and plunge the land into chaos. Built on the SRD5E rule set, the game continues the studio's dedication to tactical, turn-based combat, dice-driven outcomes, and party-based storytelling, while expanding with a vast world map, deeper faction systems, and cinematic presentation. Players will recruit adventurers, navigate moral choices, and uncover secrets across perilous realms, with every roll of the dice shaping destiny. The narrative promises a blend of political intrigue and mythic danger, rewarding exploration and strategy. And yes, dice may decide your fate, but at least they don't judge you for rolling a natural one at the worst possible time. With comparisons already being drawn to Baldur's Gate 3, Solasta 2 aims to refine its cult classic foundation into a broader, more immersive RPG experience. Reanimal is Tarsier Studios' chilling new survival horror, arriving February 13th, 2026, and it thrusts players into a nightmarish island where a brother and sister must fight through hell to rescue their missing friends. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game blends stealth, cinematic platforming, and environmental puzzles with the eerie atmosphere that made Little Nightmares iconic. The narrative unfolds across fragmented paths, forcing players to explore both land and sea while confronting grotesque monsters and unraveling the dark secret haunting their home. Designed for both single-player and co-op, it emphasizes teamwork, tension, and hope amidst despair. And yes, surviving monsters is terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to your parents why you're late because a demon ate your homework. With its haunting visuals, layered storytelling, and emotional stakes, Reanimal is shaping up to be one of 2026's most unsettling yet captivating horror adventures.
Good night, and good luck to you all.
Blackwood is one of those games that instantly makes you go, alright, this is basically John Wick if he owned a DVD store. Set in 2012 New York, it's a cinematic third-person action thriller from Atredo M7 Productions, dropping in Q3 2026 on PC. You play as Anton Blackwood, a guy living a double life. By day, he's running a quiet little DVD shop in Brooklyn, but by night, he's a ruthless assassin caught up in a brutal underworld. The gameplay mixes grounded melee combat, slick gunplay, and savage takedowns, all wrapped in a photorealistic Unreal Engine 5 package that screams high production value. What's cool is the duality. You're balancing Anton's softer side, seen by the people close to him, with the violent reality he can't escape. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, this fight choreography is insane," while still glued to the screen because the story's cinematic flair keeps pulling you deeper.
Today.
Put some ice on it. Good night, Anton.
The gap in left center. That's rolling all the way to the wall. He's around first. Digging.
Ill is an upcoming first-person survival horror game developed by Team Clout, currently in development with no confirmed release date, but slated for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Revealed at Summer Game Fest 2025, the game quickly gained attention for its grotesque body horror, visceral combat, and cinematic presentation. Set within a decaying research facility where a sinister force has awakened, Ill immerses players in a world of mutated monstrosities, psychological dread, and environmental storytelling. Built on Unreal Engine 5, it emphasizes realism with dynamic dismemberment systems, advanced physics, and immersive sound design to heighten tension. The developers, drawing inspiration from horror films like VHS and It, Welcome to Derry, promise a narrative-driven experience that balances exploration, puzzle-solving, and brutal encounters. With its mix of cinematic horror and interactive storytelling, Ill is shaping up to be one of the most disturbing and ambitious indie horror projects in recent years. Saros' Housemarque is bold new sci-fi action epic, arriving April 30th, 2026 exclusively on PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro, and it casts players as Arjun Devraj, a Soltari enforcer portrayed by Rahul Kohli, who must uncover the secrets of a lost colony on the shape-shifting world of Carcosa under an ominous eclipse. Built on Unreal Engine 5, the game fuses cinematic storytelling with Housemarque's signature bullet hell chaos, layering roguelite progression where each death strengthens your arsenal and suit for the next run. Persistent upgrades, hostile creatures, and a hauntingly dynamic environment promise both spectacle and challenge, while the narrative explores survival, identity, and the mysteries of Carcosa. And yes, dying repeatedly may sound punishing, but at least in Saros, respawning makes you stronger, unlike real life where respawning just means explaining to your boss why you're late again. With its mix of emotional storytelling, relentless combat, and technical ambition, Saros is shaping up to be the spiritual successor to Returnal, but with a sharper cinematic edge.
I will make everything perfect again.
The Expanse: Osiris Reborn is Owlcat Games' ambitious dive into the beloved sci-fi universe, a third-person action RPG where players step into the boots of a mercenary commander leading the Pinkwater security squad aboard a space frigate. Set in the 24th century, humanity has conquered the solar system, but peace is a fragile illusion as Earth, Mars, and the Belt teeter on the brink of collapse. What begins as a reluctant stopover on the asteroid Eros spirals into a conspiracy spanning the system, forcing you to gather a crew, navigate shifting alliances, and survive battles that test both loyalty and skill. Exploration, combat, and dialogue choices intertwine to shape your path through a web of lies and power struggles. And yes, space combat is brutal, but at least you don't have to worry about parallel parking a frigate in zero gravity. With cinematic storytelling, branching decisions, and the weight of the Expanse's lore, Osiris Reborn is poised to deliver a gripping blend of narrative and action that lets players leave their mark on the stars.
My suggestion? Eros.
Aphelion is the kind of game that makes you stop scrolling and go, all right, this one's different. So here's the rundown. Aphelion is a brand new sci-fi action adventure from Don't Nod, yep, the folks behind Life is Strange and Vampire, revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase 2025 and set to launch in 2026 on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. You play as astronaut Ariane, stranded on the frozen planet Persephone, trying to rescue her wounded partner Thomas while unraveling the eerie secrets of this icy wasteland tech radar. What makes it stand out is the mix of cinematic storytelling, stealth, and survival mechanics, plus the fact it's being developed in collaboration with the European Space Agency, so expect a layer of realism most sci-fi games don't even attempt. The vibe is emotional, tense, and atmospheric, with next-gen visuals that make Persephone feel both breathtaking and terrifying. Honestly, it looks like one of those games where you'll be muttering, "Bro, I'm freezing just watching this," while still glued to the screen, desperate to see what's lurking under all that ice.
I got this.
Oh, shit.
I'm not alone.
What the hell?
It's stalking me. Crap, no! Oh, no. No. Mission control. Anybody copy? Holy shit. What are you?
Project Tal is South Korea's bold new challenger in the RPG arena, an open-world action-adventure steeped in Korean mythology and scheduled for release in 2027 across PC and consoles. Developed by a new studio, it promises cinematic storytelling, photorealistic visuals, and fast-paced combat that blends martial arts precision with flashy weapon combos, drawing comparisons to Black Myth, Wukong, and Stellar Blade. Players will journey through vibrant realms, fight colossal creatures, and recruit allies whose personalities and abilities shape the unfolding narrative. The game emphasizes exploration and immersion, with dynamic environments and fluid character animations powered by Unreal Engine 5. And yes, battling mythic beasts is terrifying, but at least you don't have to explain to your insurance company why your sword broke fighting a dragon. With its ambitious scope and cultural depth, Project Tal is positioning itself as one of the most anticipated RPGs of 2027, aiming to redefine how myth and modern design collide. GTA 6 is Rockstar Games' long-awaited sequel, set to release on November 19, 2026, and it transports players to the fictional state of Leonida, inspired by Florida, with Vice City as its neon-soaked centerpiece. The story follows criminal duo Jason Duval and Lucia Caminos, weaving a tale of romance, betrayal, and survival in a sprawling open world that promises unprecedented detail, dynamic weather, and crime may pay in Vice City, but don't expect your in-game rent to be any cheaper than Miami's. With years of anticipation and leaks behind it, GTA 6 is shaping up to be the most and that's a wrap. Those were the 50 upcoming single-player games that actually matter, the ones that'll dominate your gaming sessions, blow your mind, and probably make your wallet cry. Which game are you most hyped for? Drop it in the comments. I want to know what you're pre-ordering, stalking trailers for, or just daydreaming about. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss the next list of games that actually deserve your time. Until next time, keep gaming, stay hyped, and remember, your next obsession is just around the corner.